Hello and welcome to the Local Leaders Podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Johnson. The Local Leaders Podcast provides a platform for successful business owners to share their stories, their experiences, their advice, and their ideas in order to help our listeners achieve more success in their business and in their lives. Get ready, another great show is coming up. Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Local Leaders Podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Johnson, and I'm thrilled today to be here with Monique Howery of Moni's Soulfood. We're excited to have you here, Monique, and welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you again for joining us and giving us an opportunity to really hear your story and learn from you and find out what you've been through in your journey.
Okay.
And I think that's what our listeners, really like to hear. They love to get the inspiration from people like yourself who have gone through it. So I'll just stop talking for a minute and just ask you if you wanted to maybe share your story about Moni's Soulfood and how you got started and where you at and all that kind of good stuff.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for actually having me on. It's always an honor and a great opportunity when people reach out to you. So that means you're doing something right?
Yes, ma'am.
But always, I have to give all honor and glory to God, because without him, I wouldn't be able to do anything, or I wouldn't be able to be right here speaking to you.
Yes,
so I have to most definitely say Moni started so long ago. I always tell everybody I was a hustler, and my hustle was selling dinner plates. So my career background is business management, director of food service. So when, I fell short on my paycheck, I would always put together dinner plates and sell them to the local barbershops, beauty salons, to kind of make ends meet. That was my hustle on the weekends, on my off days. And kind of as I started selling more and more dinner plates, then people started asking me about catering. So I'm like, okay, I think I can really do this thing. But I've always said that I'm going to have a restaurant one day. I'm going to have a restaurant. So a lot of people say I kind of manifested it, or I spoke it into existence. So I kind of went from doing dinner plates to the local barbershops and beauty salons to catering for companies. And I mean big companies, not little companies. I was catering for JP Morgan Chase, Verizon, Colorado Technical University, Wells Fargo, and I still cater for them. Some of them people to this very day, along with Amazon.
Wow.
So yeah, very grateful. So my journey actually started when I kind of got tired of being that director of food service. They kept transitioning me to different places. From higher education to elementary schools. I've been a director of food service over what are they called? Assisted living homes.
Yes.
And I just kind of got tired of transitioning from place to place to place to place. And finally, the last stop was the state. I actually worked for the state of Illinois. And after working for the state, I was like, that's it. I'm done. I quit.
I had enough.
Correct. I had enough. And that's when it all started. I actually quit my job. I stepped out on faith. I had a friend who owned a local tax office in DeKalb. And I asked him, I said, hey, can I come? He was like, I think that'll be great if you come and do your dinners. We kind of offer the tax people a dinner, we give them a discount off catering, or, vice versa, to kind of get it going. So I started just doing soul food Saturdays. His tax office was actually an old bakery. So it was perfect. It had a sanitation sink in it. A huge counter space. So I would come with steam tables, set up food, and sell $10 dinner plates. Wow. Well, it kept growing and growing and growing, Jeff. It was actually it was in a strip mall, and there was a store at the end of the block, and they wanted to see what was this long line about. Why were people always in this tax office? What is this tax office giving away? But you could smell it, they said, from one end of the block to the other. So he came in, he had just purchased this store. It had a kitchen in the back, and he wanted, yeah. And he came to me and he said, he tasted my food and he said, okay, what can I do to have you come work for me? Like, leave this setup, come work for me. It came to me, give him your director of food service salary. I gave him that salary and he was like, I can't pay you that. So I said, well, how about me paying you? How about I rent the location from you? He was like, well, that's an awesome idea. So I started in a little 500 square foot kitchen in the back of the store. I had a line out the door. I had outgrew that space in a month.
Oh my God.
In a month's time. Yeah. I had a friend kind of come out and kind of get me organized in my books. And the only thing he kept saying was, you outgrew this place when you moved into this place. And I'm like, I know, but I'm just going to leave well enough alone, let me build a little bit more. From there, it got so bad where the line was going through the grocery store and out the door. People would be waiting in line for 2 hours and kind of tweeting and texting it out. Hey, been in line at Moni's for 2 hours, but it's so worth the wait. So from there, I found a 2,200 square foot location right across the street. I moved from the 500 into the 2,200 square feet. In that same line I had across the street. The only thing was, by me being in DeKalb, it's a college town. So when the college students went away, my business kind of deteriorated.
Yeah.
But I still had a plan. I still had a goal. My goal has always been 5 locations. So I stated that I was going to start in DeKalb and then move to Elgin, then Aurora, then Palatine, then Schaumburg. Those were the cities that I was going to expand in. So after looking over everything, I had to let DeKalb go, but I moved to Elgin. So while in Elgin, I moved back, me and my family moved back to Elgin, looking for a new location, which I found 4,400 square feet. And COVID hit. Yeah. COVID hit. Yeah. So when COVID hit, I was still making my plans behind the scene. I was still communicating with my future landlord. We kept in touch. And in the midst of COVID and us keeping in touch, he texted me and was like, hey, Moni, can we put this on hold? His dad had actually got sick. And I'm like, okay, I understand that. It wasn't COVID, but he's older, but he fell ill. And I said, okay, no problem. And then it was like directly a month after that, my daughter passed away. Yeah. Thank you. Unrelated to COVID as well, 19 years old. We were actually in the midst of doing Amazon catering. We were doing a 24-hour Amazon catering, and she worked for Amazon. She came back after doing a delivery. I went in to try to wake her up, and she did not get up. Yeah, and after that, everybody thought I was going to stop. I was going to quit. But me knowing my daughter, she would not let me quit. So I persevered even more. I stood my ground and I opened. My daughter passed away in June of 2020. I opened Moni's in September of 2020, on my birthday, actually, September the 18th. So now I am currently in Elgin. I am still making sales. I have heard everything from, hey, that was pretty ballsy, to how the heck are you still standing when so many people are closing? And I always answer the same, by the grace of God. It is nothing but the grace of God. I always tell people he is carrying me. I did an interview once, and I think the woman said, yeah, you kind of have to believe in something, or you have to have something to back you. I said, honey, it's more than a belief. It's acknowledging and knowing that there is something so much bigger and greater than me, because I could have lost my mind. I could have not been here. I could have been doing so many things, but he carried me through. He carried me through. So that's pretty much it. We are still up and running in Elgin. Yeah, and it's just been great despite COVID.
Wow, that is one heck of a story. Yeah, that is one of inspiration, and I appreciate you sharing that. It's very personal for you, and all the things that you've been through in your journey, and just about everyone everybody we've talked to, had to deal with COVID and find some way around it, and that was challenging. And I'm curious that once you got opened up in September, did you have or do you have indoor seating, or is it all takeout?
Yes.
Okay.
No. When I first opened, that's when I think we were like in stage 4, where you could have 50 people. Yeah. So I had the table spaced out accordingly, and it was on the grand opening date. My God, there was so many people. They were coming in and ordering and standing outside, and the people who were adamant about sitting in and dining, they sat at the tables. They stayed, social distance. A lot of that day is kind of a blur, because when I say we were working from the time I opened to the time I closed, and I am so grateful. Online ordering went down. It was not working. When I went back to see, to get it corrected, over 200 and something orders online. Oh, wow. And that wasn't even including over the 200 and something customers that came through the door that day. I said, we would have been.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That would have been a heck of a day. So
yeah.
So I'm assuming you got your online ordering rocking and rolling now.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
It's hard to not have that these days, and many restaurants went to curbside pickups, and all kinds of different ways around it. So let me ask you this: are you having any trouble, or have you had trouble with staffing, recruiting, and hanging on to people?
Yes, I most definitely have. But that's where I am truly thankful for good friends and them having kids.
And you just pull them in, right?
Yeah. For the ones who were able to allow their children. Yeah. I have one friend where she tells her kids, you get up and you go. That's your aunt. You help her. Yeah. Even when sales got pretty low, they would still come in and just help, because I tell everybody it was a period in time, most definitely December to January, December through those 2 months right there. Wow. Yeah. Those months, I paid all of my bills once again by the grace of God. Wasn't able to pay myself, wasn't able to pay my staff, but we were still just happy to be able to keep the doors open by paying the bills, because we were still receiving something.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. And perseverance, I guess, is the word I think you used earlier. And it sounds like that. For you, having goals and persevering toward them is more important than anything.
Then yes, it is.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that story. And I tell you, I asked you about the staffing piece because so many owners have struggled with that, but it's great to have family and friends and people you can rely on to be able to bring in and help. And now, are you still planning is your goal still to have 5 locations?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So you're heading to your 1-year anniversary now.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, at the Elgin location. So
yes,
maybe after we get past COVID, assuming that we ever do that, that's that's another question out there that,
Even in the midst of COVID, I will still persevere. I am still in an expansion season. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not gonna let COVID deter me. Just have to be smart. Yeah.
Yeah, you do. You got to watch your pennies and save where you can, and try to get yourself in a position to be ready to grow. Have you thought about like franchising or anything like that to get that growth? Or
not necessarily franchising, but series.
Yeah,
is what I want to do. Yeah, just
Gotcha.
series.
Gotcha. Well, that's there's all kinds of ways to make it happen, and I'm sure that you're going to find the right one that works for you guys, and you're able to achieve your goals.
Yeah.
So, usually I ask about major challenges that you faced in your journey, but heck, you've already shared some of those, both personal and professional. So let me ask you about leadership. Just kind of shift gears a little bit, because again, you had a tough one getting through to where you are today.
Yeah.
On the leadership side, what is your style? What is your leadership style? How do you manage your people? Just give us a feel for Moni.
My leadership style is, how can I say it? It's family oriented. Okay. It is most definitely family oriented. I always let my staff know, you know how it is with family. Everybody can be good one minute and you may bump heads the next, but no matter what, family is family. So you stick together. That is my leadership style. I am very transparent. I always let them know customer service is first. I always give them ways to think about, when you go out into the world and what you experience from a customer point of view. We always need to think of that and kind of flip it. So if when you go out into the world and you don't like when certain customer service is poor or bad, or when people speak to you in a certain tone. So I just always give the expectation of, don't be what you see. Be who you are and be the best person that you can be while you're here. Yeah.
I love that. Don't be what you see. I'm making a note of that one. I may have to borrow that terminology from you, but I think that actually is a great piece of advice for other owners of businesses, is to kind of, especially from a customer experience standpoint, because you're exactly right. When you go out yourself, your expectations are at a certain level, and if you get the tone or the bad attitude or the whatever, it really does impact you. So it does. So if you can get your employees thinking like that, then hopefully they're gonna turn on the smile and get back to where they need to be.
Absolutely.
Take care of your customers, and I'm sure your customers appreciate it. And and as a business owner, especially in the restaurant business, that customer experience is showing up in the reviews, right?
Yes, it does. It does.
And that can have a big impact on your business, especially if they're not where they need to be. So, that's something that you have to focus on. So let me ask you this and kind of, I'm going back and forth, but kind of going back to the challenge side, going forward, now that you've been through all that you've been through, what do you anticipate being your next major hurdle? I know I didn't really prep you for that one, so sorry.
No, and that's okay. I don't know what could possibly be my next hurdle, but all I know is in life, and especially with my leaders, my pastor and my apostle, they always teach us to kind of be prepared. And the only way I can be prepared is by giving it to God every day, and just walking in what he has for me. There's no true way to be prepared. I mean, to be prepared financially, that's saving, That's all I can truly do. But in times like these, Jeff, it's even hard to try to save. I'm going to be honest. It's truly hard to try to save when what you have coming through the door is the same thing you kind of have going out. So the only thing I can do is just continue to be the best person that I can be and to continue to offer an outstanding product and just pray that the people see what it is that I have to offer and that more catch on to it.
Yeah. Well, that's a great answer. And you're right. It's all about faith, and it's all about, giving over things that you can't control to the Lord and letting Him do His thing.
That's right.
Because that's the way it's gonna go anyway.
Yes, it is.
Hey, how about operationally? Are you seeing, like a lot of people in the country, are you seeing higher food costs, and are you having to deal with that as well?
Absolutely. Yeah. But like I tell everybody, for me, it's just all a gimmick. It actually is. It's how can I see it? Every source that's out there, like for the tents, right? Mm-hmm. When they had companies or restaurants do this tent, right? Especially for the ones who have a brick and mortar. What was the difference from the tent with the zip up doors where they were pumping in gas heat or pumping in gas AC from your brick and mortar building? Do you get what I'm saying? You spray the tent, you spray the inside. There was no difference. So the way I look at it, and I'm not trying to be what they say conspiracy theorist, it's just one of those things where party rentals were kind of down. So we needed to help them a little bit. So now we're in the stage of meats, produce, everything it is for a restaurant. Okay, government loans have been issued to some of us. So it's like, okay, they have the money. Now we have to increase, right? We have to increase the cost of this product to make it in high demand. So I truly think that's what it is. It's not one of those things, because it was up for a couple of months and now it's starting to go back down. And it's like, how can it be in such a high demand and then overnight chickens? Yeah. You can't grow a chicken that fast, Jeff. Yeah. It has to take its course, right? Yeah. So how do we go from not having any chicken to a month later, there's a huge increase in chicken? You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's just one of those things about being smart on how you order as well, too. Because when we were going through the whole chicken crisis, hey, I did not raise my prices to my customers because I knew it would be coming down eventually. Yeah. So I just kind of paced myself through it. Yeah. Because then the vendors started looking at, well, they're not ordering as much as they were before. Yeah, it hurts you when you're trying to get over on people. Yeah. Yeah,
you're exactly right. And it's it goes all the way through the supply chain. And
yes, it does.
I've had, during several of these podcasts, I've talked about chicken wings. So I'm gonna try not to do that again. Yeah, I couldn't figure out where all the chicken wings went. There was chicken breasts and there were chicken thighs and there were legs, but you couldn't find the chicken wings.
But you couldn't find chicken wings. Yeah, right, because that's the most popular piece of the chicken that is sold in most restaurants. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we had. I saw an ad on TV, and somebody was introducing their buffalo. It wasn't buffalo wings; it was buffalo breast.
Breast, yeah.
Yeah. See, or buffalo thighs. I can't remember
thighs.
Which one it was.
You got it. Yeah,
it was something besides a wing.
Yeah, it was.
Or as we say over here in the South, in North Carolina, a wang. You got any wangs? Yes, ma'am. That's how we do it over here. Oh Lord, that's why I stay in North Carolina. The accent and Southern charm just doesn't transmit itself past Illinois or anywhere else across the country.
Nice.
But yeah, it's good. Hey, tell me this. I often ask owners kind of how they measure success in their business. And specifically, I'm thinking when I ask that question, I'm thinking about, the numbers. Are you,
Yeah.
what do you watch and kind of keep track of? Is it just sales, or are you looking at other types of things to kind of tell you how healthy your business is at the moment? And I'll tell you what a lot of people tell me. They're like, as long as I can pay my bills, we're doing good.
No, I'm gonna be honest. I look at a little bit of everything overall, but most importantly, I'm looking at customer service first.
Yeah.
Because if my customer service is not on point, it will turn somebody away in a heartbeat. Yeah, it's for me, it's most definitely customer service first. Yeah. And my reviews stand for it too. Yeah.
That's what I was going to ask. Is that what you're looking at then, the reviews themselves and the scores?
Yeah, that plays, yes, the reviews play a part in it too. But like sometimes people say, sometimes you get a hater or adversary who just they follow you for some reason and want to give you something negative without even being in the restaurant. Because I was sitting on a straight 5 stars for like 3 months, and somebody seen that and had to go and just say something negative for no reason, or mark a 1 for no reason. And I always tell people, no, I'm not the best of the best, but I do try my very best, to give a good product. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. So
everything.
Are you talking to your customers like while they're there to kind of get a feeling for their experience? How else can you measure customer service outside of the review chain?
Outside of the review chain, by them. I love it. Yeah, because I always have people come back, and sometimes it's so many people, I can't even remember some of their names, but they say, hey, my friend Jackie was here last week, and she told me about this awesome experience and that she had the opportunity to meet the owner. So I had to come and see for myself. And half of the time, like I'm saying, it's not even about the food. It starts with the customer service, and then it goes over to, oh my God, the food is amazing too, in addition to that customer service. Yeah.
And are you able to, well, I guess you have been able to, but has it been much of a strain to be able to balance the catering side with the restaurant side?
No, not really, because of the limited help, it just makes us be a little bit more creative.
Yeah.
But it is most definitely, I don't like saying it like that, but it's COVID baby season, as everybody says. So we have been baby shower crazy, because I do have an event space on the other side. So we went from a graduation season to baby shower season. And now it's going back to school season. So I am getting a lot of educators and principals, locally and from afar, coming out. I think my furthest customer that has come and visited the restaurant so far is from Owatonna, Minnesota. I've had people come from Michigan just to try the food. I've had people come from Wisconsin just to try my food. I've had people come from different places in Illinois just to try my food. And that's like, wow, that's amazing.
That is amazing. Now, are you the chef especial, or do you have other folks who are back there creating that wonderful food?
No, I still do certain things. I do mostly like all of my sides. Yes, I'm very particular. I do have 2 cooks that I have trained to do my sides as well too. But yeah, I'm still there from sun up to sundown.
Well, so many people that we talk to, especially these days with the lack of help available, is you're an owner, operator, chef. You kind of got all the different roles that you have to deal with, and
that's right.
Have you found, because one of the things we talk about sometimes is work-life balance. Are you able to maintain a good balance?
I try. I do. I am actually a minister. So I most definitely do try. I try. But it's hard sometimes. That's just like I had to contact my leaders for the month of July and say, hey, I can't be there for July, but give me this month to work these things out so that I can come back. And they absolutely agreed. And I thank God for their support. Yeah, it's always good to have a good foundation, a good backing behind you to help you through some of the challenges within your business.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And it's, it's an area, especially in the restaurant business, work-life balance is really not very well attuned in a lot of cases, because the hours and the strain and the stress, of serving is really, really powerful in this space. And so I find a lot of owners, lose themselves while trying to run their business. And we had another gentleman on a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about growth and different things. And he's like, well, the first thing I always ask is, that I realize when I think about, should I do this or should I add this, is that I'm trading time for money. Yeah. And is it worth it? Do I really want to give up the time for I just really like that. So I've been sharing.
Yeah, that is so true.
Trading time for money. Yep. Yeah. Which is what work, I guess, is all about. And we have to trade some of it, but
that's so true.
Maybe we need to find a little more for ourselves and our families and all that.
That's so true.
Well, what words of wisdom or advice would you give? Because we do have a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs and or people just getting started. Any last words of wisdom that you might put out there for us?
Yes, and this is always my favorite question. You know why? Because I love people, and I love entrepreneurs. I host classes and courses for entrepreneurs because I tell people I'm an entrepreneur and I'm a growing entrepreneur. So the best advice I can always give is be yourself and know what sets you apart from every other business out there. Be a trendsetter. Do not follow trends, because what sets you apart is what is going to actually help your business succeed and be successful in every way. And also with putting God first, learn how to put God first, because then he will lead you and guide you in all of your ways. Yeah.
Excellent advice. And I'm glad you mentioned the business training component too, because I'd forgotten about that since our last conversation. And I meant to bring it up early on, along with the event space that you had as well. So I'm glad you were able to get that in, because
thank you.
Moni does do some entrepreneur training, and if you are in the area, the Illinois area, and looking to start a business and anywhere close enough to get to her, she would love to work with you, I'm sure.
Yes.
Yeah, well, it's been awesome, having you on today and having an opportunity to hear your story, which again is full of personal and professional challenges that you've been able to overcome. And we're just so thankful to have had the opportunity to hear you. And I can hear the minister in you too, especially when you were doing the words of wisdom. I heard the voice pick up just a little bit. And I'm thinking, yes, preach it, sister.
I've been told that. I'm sorry, no, because I really am a pusher, and especially for women. Yeah.
No, it's very motivating. I love the way you speak. I can tell you've done some speaking before.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
You are welcome. But and as I said, it's been a pleasure having you here today and getting the chance to get to know you. And so again, I just want to say thank you for your time today. We appreciate you being here. And again, anybody who hasn't been to Moni's Soulfood Fiesta in Elgin, Illinois, get there, because you're missing something. You're missing it. You got to get in there and give it a try. Whether you're having events, an event coming up that you need catering for, she's got a space. She probably she can go out and meet you in your space if you need to. If we can find a tent that's affordable, right? As long as we can get a tent, we'll be there. But please go out and see her. Please go out and see her and support Moni and her business. And again, we thank you for being here. And for all our listeners, thank you for tuning in to the Local Leaders Podcast today. I'm your host, Jeff Johnson. And our guest today was Monique Howery, which goes by Moni, and it's Moni's Soulfood Fiesta in Elgin, Illinois. Go see her. Thanks for being here, and we hope to see you again soon.